All right, preppers, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Economic Prepper here. Hope that you guys are doing very well today. Several things I want to share with you guys. This is going to be probably the epitome of prepping and preparedness. Shout out to my Canadian preppers out there. I've got something real special for you guys. Also, shout out to RCX in the comments for putting me on to this one. I love our community, guys. We're prepping together, we're getting prepared, we're sharing good ideas and information, and I just want to thank you guys so very much for that. So let's go ahead and jump in. So a network disruption triggered an internet and phone outage today in Canada. So all my Canadian preppers out there probably got a chance to see if your generators are working, your emergency backup equipment. And yeah, so it was a big deal. The outages affected some customers. One of the largest telecommunications companies was actually hit by this incident today. And the scary thing is that a lot of people weren't able to even call 911. Now, the minute 911 isn't accessible, I don't care if you're, funding the police or not. If you have a problem and you need boots on the ground, you need, emergency support, you're gonna call 911. And if 911, you dial 911 and it's not available, that's a problem. And not to mention, even beyond like a crime situation, beyond that, think about it, we're hitting 90, 100-degree temperature days. And I don't know what the temperature is in Canada right now. So maybe this doesn't quite apply for my Canadian preppers who are out there. You guys can let me know, what is the weather like out there? But here in the southern part of the United States, we've had, multiple days and weeks stretches of 90+ temperature days on end. We were experiencing 100-degree plus temperatures. So if you lose power, you are technically, potentially in a health crisis situation. If you've got babies, if you've got infants, older folks, elderly, you can't be subject to extreme temperatures for too long without potentially life-threatening situations happening. An outage on Friday at Rogers, one of Canada's largest telecommunications companies, caused significant internet, cable, as well as cell phone disruptions, mostly in Ontario and in Quebec, Canada's most populous provinces. Now, again, you guys, I know I've got some preppers in Canada. You guys can let me know. Did you experience any of this? How long did it last for you? Generally, when I have personally experienced power outage situations, grid down situations, it could last anywhere from, 10 minutes to days, weeks. I don't think it's that severe, but the thing is whenever there's like a power down situation, especially when we had critical natural disasters happen in my area about 2 years ago, while the majority of people were back up and running, heaters were working again, HVAC systems, power was reestablished in the houses and in the apartments, there were many people who were out of power for weeks, literally weeks. Several people were out for days, while the majority of people were back up and running within 24 to 48 hours. But, obviously it's summertime, but you just imagine if this was wintertime, when we experienced it a couple years ago, it was wintertime. Ice was hanging on the power lines and, snapping power. I mean, like it was very cold. So when you've got 10-degree days outside and you have no power for a week, that's a problem, especially if you don't have a backup generator, which is why we prep for things like that. I know a lot of you guys are opting for the lithium-powered, I think it's the lithium-powered battery, lithium-powered generators rather than the gas-powered generators because they're quieter. There's some solar-power generator options out there. Anyway, beyond that, think about what isn't going to work when you don't have power. If you don't have power, you're not taking credit card transactions. You go to the grocery store, grocery stores, gas stations, you can't process credit card payments. You can't process cryptocurrency payments. All of these technologies rely on electricity. So grid down, power outage situations, it's going to take all that out. Thankfully, it happened during the day, I guess, versus the night, because at least you have daylight. So, if it was nighttime, it could be potentially even more catastrophic. The outage affected emergency services and some police services, including law enforcement agencies in Toronto, as well as Ottawa, which are warning that some of Rogers' customers may not be able to connect to 911. They also indicated that banking services and internet access was also affected. So, like I said, banking, internet access, if you're working from home, your internet's down, you're dead in the water. Whatever company you worked for, they just lost another resource, adding to the labor shortages that we've been dealing with. If you're running some form of online business, your business is potentially on pause, depending upon the type of online business that you're running. A lot of these online businesses can continue to sustain operations even if power is lost for you. A lot of the online businesses that I'm familiar with, that I've been talking to you guys with offline, and by the way, I just want to say I appreciate your ambition to have an interest in online businesses and generating different forms of income online. And so the types of business that I've been talking to you guys about offline, I know through email and whatnot, a lot of those businesses will continue to operate even in the fact that you might not have power, because these businesses are run remotely, and a large part of it is automated, so you don't have to be in front of the computer constantly. The company said in a statement that we know how important it is for our customers to stay connected. We're aware of issues currently affecting our networks, and our teams are fully engaged to resolve the issue as soon as possible. So apparently the company's got tens of millions of customers across Canada, and they've got about 23,000 employees that support them. Now, out of the tens of millions of customers across Canada that they provide power to, does this mean that potentially tens of millions of people lost power today and had all sorts of aspects of their life upended? Now, the other thing is why did they lose power? I'm just thinking, like, let's just say that there was like some type of a EMP situation where this was an intentional takedown. I mean, just imagine how vulnerable many people would be. I know this took place in Canada, but I'm just thinking about, what if that happened here in the United States, or wherever you happen to live? It doesn't even matter. The vulnerability and the risks, they remain the same. The Communication Security Establishment, the Canadian agency responsible for cybersecurity and other national intelligence functions, offered assistance to Rogers, and they said that it was unclear if the outage might have been caused by an external intrusion into Rogers' network. So they don't even know if they were hacked. And this is scary. Now, we saw similar situations multiple times in the last couple of years. We saw basically the effects of, I believe it was Russian hackers that hacked into the I want to say, forgive me, you guys would probably help me out in the comments down below. I think it was Russian hackers that hacked into our gas pipeline system, maybe in the last 3 years. I think it was about 3 years ago. And basically for the Southeast, gas prices went through the roof because a huge segment of our gas and oil supply feed was interrupted and was held at ransom for a period of time. And it took quite a while to get things back online. So it's clear that this whole situation that happened, that went down today in Canada, literally is still under investigation, and they're not even sure if they've been hacked. Was this a result of excess heat? We've seen here, we've talked about it in several of my previous videos, how the many of these electric companies, their grids are effectively being overloaded or approaching being overloaded, and so they're conducting these controlled brownout or blackout situations whereby they will, from the switch from a switch that they have access to at their switchboard at their headquarters or wherever they're managing these electrical grid systems, they're powering out or powering down certain segments of the state, certain segments within the city. So basically, these electric companies can shut down certain parts of the country to prevent the grid from being overloaded. So, for my Canadian preppers out here, I'm hoping that you guys were not too badly impacted by this. And I don't know if it's still going on. You guys can let me know. Like I said, more than likely, based on what we've seen in the past, they've probably got a good handful of people back up and running. But then there's also always these outliers that end up being the last to get serviced, and they're still without power for longer periods of time. In Hamilton, Ontario, a city west in Toronto, clerks at downtown coffee shops told growing lines of customers. Oh man, it's crazy. Like when you picture it in your mind, growing lines of customers inside these stores that they would be unable to pay with their debit cards, which is effectively the dominant payment in Canada, which, because of the outage, which is the dominant payment really pretty much anywhere in any fully developed country. So if you're in Canada or the United States, the dominant method of payment is going to be credit card processing. It's going to be debit card processing. The minority would be some form of cryptocurrency. I know Starbucks is taking Bitcoin and or maybe some Starbucks. I don't know if all Starbucks are taking Bitcoin now. But speaking of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, we have a number of scammers in the comments. I wanted to just give a shout out to the scammers in the comments who have profiles that look like Economic Prepper. Guys, I'm not trying to get your, I don't want you to invest with my investor. I'm not going to try to get you to call me on WhatsApp. Not happening. If you guys see that in the comments, call them out, let them know, and just comment down below when you see that, and to keep our community safe, and to keep people away from these scammers. All right. So if you see any of that, hey, I made $7,000 today on Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency nonsense, it's not me. So I think you guys are smart enough to know that. I know that the majority of you guys are, but just a public service announcement. Let's keep the community safe and clean. But basically, those without cash faced challenges since many nearby bank machines were also down. So if you didn't have cash in your hand, which is why we talk about on this channel, there's economic preparedness. You got to have cash. And we talked about the banking systems. If the banking systems were to get shut down, if we had some kind of massive economic collapse that impacted the banking systems, what are you going to do? And how long is this problem going to last, right? So if you don't have cash on hand, then you're stuck. If the banking systems, ATMs have lost power like they did today in Canada, then you weren't able to get cash out. So maybe that meant you couldn't eat today. Now, maybe that meant you couldn't fill up with gas. Now, call me devil's advocate, or what is it? What's the term when the worst thing could happen? Murphy's Law, right? So Murphy's Law would be, now, I don't think you guys would do this, but I used to do this, especially when gas prices were high. This was like back in 2008, 2009. Gas prices were so high, I didn't want to fill up. So I would postpone filling up, delay filling up. And then, eventually I would fill up. So I'm basically driving to the point of getting below a quarter tank. And so just imagine, right? Some people do this even today because gas prices are so high and people are trying to deal with these excessive, gas prices at the gas pump, right? So imagine you didn't fill up, you were on E, and maybe time didn't permit you to get gas. You're just trying to get to work on time, right? So you work your full day at work, and then you hop in the car and you're like, you know what? I don't have time to fill up for gas. I don't want to be late for work. I'm going to get gas on the way home. So imagine you go to start your car, you begin your 45-minute commute home on E, But before you hit the highway, you said to yourself, you know, oh yeah, let me go get some gas. Oh wait, you pull up to the gas station, all the pumps are down. You can't even get gas because there's a power outage. Or let's just say that that particular gas station had some generator system that allowed them to remain powered, and so you could actually go in potentially just to use the pumps, because a lot of these generator systems, they don't necessarily power everything, just the essentials. And so what if you go to use the pump and you didn't have cash? Well, maybe you couldn't check out. I mean, just throwing out some hypothetical situations for why it is a great idea to always have some kind of cash. And I'm not saying keep $100,000 under your mattress. I'm not saying keep $100,000, you know, in the glove compartment of your car, anything crazy like that. But you have to be prepared for these odd circumstances that you're generally not going to be alerted to ahead of time. So just throwing it out there for you guys. I know you guys are preparing. You're getting your pantry stocked, stockpiling water filtration and whatnot, firewood, because summer will pass, fall will approach, and it will be colder, and so you guys are getting ahead and getting great deals on firewood right now. Anyway, Passport Canada said that the outage was also affecting some of its call centers at the time. So, basically people who are trying to get passports couldn't get their passports. Imagine you're trying to hurry up and you have a cruise finally, right? Because the pandemic shut everything down. So you finally can take your first cruise in what, 3 years, and you need your passport. Well, you thought you could get your passport today because your cruise is what, Saturday, right? Well, the passport systems were down. So that's adding to the whole travel madness. And we've been talking about, what was it, the flight cancellations and whatnot. So there were tens of thousands of flight cancellations. You guys can check that out in my previous videos. But now it's going to be even worse, because I can only imagine how many people are going to have to cancel their flights, cancel their travel plans, whether it's for business, whether it's a personal family vacation, because they couldn't get their passports. So big deals, it's a big deal going on right now. Anyway, the major service disruption comes as the company is in the midst of attempting to acquire this other telecommunications company. So I don't know if after this telecommunications company acquisition, would that allow their network to be more resilient, or would it literally potentially have caused a larger outage if this acquisition had taken place before the power outage that was expected today? But I'm definitely going to continue to follow up on this. You guys comment down below, all my Canadian preppers out there that might know more information about what happened today. Let me know what you know in the comments down below. I appreciate that. Again, shout out to RCX for putting me on to this information today. As I know more, I'll share more. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to sharing more information with you guys in future videos. Take care.